Welcome to OLOVAD Stanley Alfi-Delfi Marine Engineering YouTube channel. Okay, so picture this. We're diving into an incredible explainer today, covering a real-life digital hijack. Imagine logging onto your educational website, a space dedicated entirely to marine engineering, only to find it completely taken over by an online casino. Sounds crazy, right? But that is exactly what happened to the Alfi-Delfi website. Today, we're going to walk step by step through this procedural mystery, exploring exactly how a site gets hijacked and, absolutely more importantly, how you take it back.
Now, right out of the gate, the critical first clue of the investigation presented us with a massive contradiction. Standard visitors were greeted by a screen just absolutely full of unauthorized gambling content. But when the owner manually typed in the exact path to the index.html page, the original marine engineering website was still right there, completely unharmed. So this told the owner something absolutely crucial. The core website files hadn't actually been destroyed.
So, naturally, you got to ask yourself, why? Why was the real website still hiding beneath the fake one? How is it even possible for a website to exist simultaneously as a marine engineering resource and a gambling hub? Well, to answer that, we have to follow the trail. The owner knew something was intercepting visitors and rerouting them, but to figure out exactly how, they needed to really look under the hood.
All right, Section 1, Regaining Server Access.
And boom, this is where our digital investigation hits its first major roadblock. The very first thing the owner did was verify domain ownership. Good news, the domain registration record showed the domain hadn't been stolen. It was safe. But the problem was deeper, It was inside the hosting account itself. When the owner tried to log into their cPanel, which is basically the control panel for the server, their password no longer worked. The attackers had totally locked them out. Without cPanel access, it was just impossible to inspect the files. So the owner had to contact the hosting provider directly, wait for assistance, and finally get a newly issued cPanel password just to get back inside.
Moving right along to Section 2, Exposing the Redirect. So now that we have the keys to the server again, it's time to find the scene of the crime. Once inside the cPanel, the real detective work began. And it started with the .htaccess file. This is a configuration file that acts kind of like a traffic cop for your server. It literally controls how visitors are directed when they access a website. If you want to, say, force someone to look at a completely different page than the one they requested, this is exactly where you'd write that rule.
And, well, sure enough, opening that file revealed the smoking gun. Inside the .htaccess file, there was a malicious rewrite rule. This rule was forcibly redirecting visitors away from the genuine homepage and funneling them directly into a highly suspicious folder named guseo. This perfectly explained our earlier mystery. The original files were completely untouched, but this traffic cop rule was aggressively pushing literally every new visitor into the guseo directory instead.
When the owner actually opened that guseo folder, it was quite a shock. Inside, they discovered gambling-related files, logos, banners, and web pages associated with Win4D promotional material. It had absolutely nothing to do with marine engineering. The owner realized a pretty grim truth here. The attackers had effectively created a second website inside the hosting account. It was a complete, unauthorized, hidden ecosystem living right alongside the real content.
Okay, so the cleanup phase was immediate and aggressive. Step 1. Delete that guseo folder and any other suspicious Win4D directories, completely eliminating those fake website images and pages. Step 2. Strip out that malicious rewrite rule from the .htaccess file. Step 3. Lock it down by inserting a clean rule, ensuring visitors were directed properly right back to the legitimate index.html homepage. Upon refreshing, the marine engineering site was finally visible again.
But we aren't done yet. Section 3. Defeating the hidden backdoor. Now, you might be thinking the story ends here, but a good digital investigator knows that when an attacker gets in once, they're going to try to make sure they can get in again. During a deeper inspection of the files, the owner found something extremely alarming. A highly suspicious PHP file was discovered lurking in the directory. This wasn't standard web code. It contained heavily obfuscated code designed specifically to hide its true purpose. The attackers were using compressed code fragments and eval functions to just completely conceal their malicious instructions. This was advanced hiding. What they had actually found was a backdoor. This is a hidden entry point that allows attackers to regain access to your server even after all the visible malware, like that whole gambling folder, has been removed. If the owner had stopped after simply deleting the gambling pages and fixing the redirect, the attackers would have just used this backdoor to waltz right back in and infect the whole site all over again tomorrow.
So, taking rapid, comprehensive action to seal the breach is just absolutely crucial. The owner immediately deleted the backdoor PHP file and scoured for and removed any additional suspicious folders. They then verified that there were 0 unauthorized cron jobs, which, by the way, are basically automated scheduled tasks that attackers sometimes leave behind. Finally, they completely locked down the account by changing the hosting password and updating all access credentials. The threat was fully neutralized.
Almost there. Section 4, the final detail, the favicon.
The core system was secure, but there was one lingering visual ghost of the attack still out on the web. Even though the site itself was clean, Google Search was still displaying the attacker's suspicious icon, the favicon, right next to the site's search results. To fix this, the owner generated and uploaded a completely new favicon package directly into the website. They then updated the HTML headers of the site to reference these new icons. This brilliant step ensured that browsers and search engines would be forced to drop the bad icon and eventually restore the correct Alfi-Delfi branding across the internet.
Which brings us to our wrap-up. Section 5, lessons in digital survival.
This intense recovery operation gives us some incredibly valuable takeaways. First, always maintain backups. They are your ultimate safety net for sure. Second, monitor your files regularly for unusual changes. Third, use strong, unique passwords for your hosting accounts. Fourth, if you see an anomaly like a weird redirect, investigate it immediately. But honestly, perhaps the most crucial takeaway of all is this: no site is too small. Never assume a specialized educational site is too insignificant for hackers. They really don't care about your content. They just want your server space to host their own operations.
Ultimately, this is a story of resilience. The original content was completely restored, and marine engineering students could once again access their vital educational material safely. The website survived, the knowledge was preserved, and the mission continues. But it leaves us with a pretty chilling question to think about. If a specialized marine engineering site can harbor a hidden digital casino, what might be hiding in the forgotten folders of your own website right now? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. OLOVAD, Stanley, Alfi-Delfi Marine Engineering YouTube channel.